Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. It is your boy back within the fifth dimension. My name is HMK, host and creator of the fifth dimension, and today we've got a very special friend with us in order to discuss all things Super Mario 3D World along with Bowser's Fury. Not Bowser is a furry, but Bowser's Fury. Even though technically Super Mario 3D World, he was a Meowser and stuff. Anyways, please welcome my boy, my friend, NintenDaan. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you, friend?
I'm doing amazing. You want to tell the chat a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Dan. I've written for a bunch of different outlets. I will explain that in a little bit. And I had a YouTube. I do things on YouTube. I do things on Twitter. I've done all the new stuff that it comes to Nintendo. Basically, everything there's about able to do.
Man, if you guys haven't heard of this man, what are you doing with your life? Like, I'm pretty sure at one way or another you've crossed roads with this amazing man right here, NintenDaan, my boy. But today we are going to be talking about Super Mario 3D World, but mostly Bowser's Fury, because like we've talked about this before, where like when Nintendo first announced Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, because you know we had the rumors and the leaks and stuff about how, you know, for the 35th anniversary we were gonna get Super Mario 3D World Deluxe, and I'm so glad it actually didn't turn out to have that name, like Deluxe. I'm so tired of seeing Deluxe. You don't understand, man.
Funny enough, this is the most deluxe version of a Switch game, despite not having the name Deluxe.
Right? And I'm just, bro, like, just let take Deluxe out yonder and just, you know, let it pass on into the next life phase, into the next dimension. But the thing about Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury, a lot of us were like really wondering what is a Bowser's Fury? What is Bowser's Fury? What is that? So before, because obviously we know now, but before we get into the real skinny of it, I want to, like, you know, we had a hint about it, but I want to ask you, before we actually knew what Bowser's Fury was, what ideas crossed your head when it came to that, you know, plus part when it comes to New Super Mario 3D World?
Funny enough, it turned out exactly what I wanted it to be. So when you say the 10 seconds at the end was shown, we could clearly see Cat Mario standing before an altar, which we now know as the giant Super Bell, and different platforms that you could hop on. And my first thought in my head was, this is not a regular level. This is going to be more open. It's going to be a tiny bit of a world. The scope of that world, we don't exactly still know. They said multiple islands, but I thought, yeah, this is going to be just a slightly more open level with the Cat Mario and other mechanics that were in 3D World. Right.
When I first saw the hint for the Bowser's Fury, at first I was freaking out. I mean, like, bro, like, Super Mario 3D World is one of the more, I would say, happier looking games when it comes to the Mario like universe. So, like, the darkest they ever gotten was Super Mario Galaxy and whatnot. But for seeing that rather dark and ominous, like, rainy area, I was like, okay, this is definitely out of left field. And when I first saw it, I thought, you know, Nintendo was just fucking with us in terms of, you know, messing around with the camera angle, because I honestly thought this was just gonna be a bigger, more robust, like, you know how in 3D World, like, you know, you have the characters on the map and then they go from course to course and stuff. I honestly thought it was gonna be something like that, but bigger, and that, you know, the camera perspective was literally just messed around for that tease, just for that tease. And I'm like, you know, honestly, I didn't think much of it, and I thought, you know, okay, so we have to purge, you know, the darkness or the ooze from area to area and then move on.
The reason why I didn't think that is because the camera in the world map in 3D World is a lot flatter.
Right.
Like, there's nothing like that camera angle in 3D World in the rest of the 3D Mario games. So I honestly thought this would be a lot more open, and considering there were already platforms in the background, which aren't in the overworld maps of 3D World,
exactly,
I definitely think there was something was up.
Yep. And then when we finally got the reveal of what it was, boy, I was like, yo, it didn't click at first, but I'm like, bro, this is like Odyssey. This is like if Odyssey were to be like, if Odyssey was injected into 3D world, and I'm totally down for that. But I was just blown away from like the sheer scope of what we know of this, and it was just so nice.
Clear thing that we need to mention right away is that it obviously it looks like Odyssey, but it's not because of the difference in mechanics. Because Odyssey didn't rely on power-ups at all. It was solely cappy. With 3D World, and this is what I think is the best about 3D Land and 3D World. The sheer amount of power-ups that they use and that you can use permanently, not like the limited time stuff that they did in Galaxy, made for some really unique level design. But putting that in a more open world is very interesting because it also lifts some limitations they had with 3D Land and 3D World, but it also, I think, and this is the more important part, it creates new stuff, because especially with Cat Mario, even with like the stuff in Super Mario Maker 2, we have never had Cat Mario in a more open 3D world setting.
Yep. You know, Cat Mario is always limited to either the courses or Super Mario Maker 2, like you said. So, like, I feel like there's potential there that could be, you know, explored when it comes to a 3D space and whatnot, even more so than from what we've done, what we've messed around with in Odyssey. And I feel like the biggest hint, the biggest, you know, idea towards that is the fact that, you know, Super Mario 3D World, if you guys didn't know, Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury is going to run at a faster speed than originally when it did on the Wii U. It's going to be upgraded 50% faster in terms of running speed, climbing speed, jumping speed, all that good jazz. So it looks like they're really priming up these power-ups, especially Cat Mario, to be, you know, messed around in this fucking gigantic new space. You know, which is,
and I think
no, go ahead.
No, it's absolutely fantastic. I think it's also been a while since we had proper power-ups in that kind of setting, because they felt really more limited to the 2D games. Like, we've seen like the Boomerang and we've seen like the Fire Flower. Despite them being in 3D Land and 3D World, you didn't really have the freedom with them.
Right.
And having that in that specific setting, I honestly think they might also see it as a test of how they maybe approach 3D Mario in the future. Because once again, they've never really experimented with the power-ups they had both in 3D Land and 3D World in that specific way.
Right. And there is a point, like, I was saving this point for later, but I'm like, okay, we're gonna do this now because you just like trucked it in there. So when you're bringing up that whole notion about, you know, the potential and how they're messing around with a more open space with these power-ups and the overall game speed and stuff, one of my biggest problems, and I always get crucified over this for Odyssey, when I keep on saying, yo, like, oh, what's the best Switch game to come out in 2017? I'm like, obviously it's Breath of the Wild. It's like, no, Odyssey got robbed. Odyssey got robbed because of, like, you know, Zelda fans and stuff. Like, I'm like, bro, Zelda for life. But it's not about that. The thing about Super Mario Odyssey is that something that was achieved in Breath of the Wild was not achieved in Odyssey, and I said this in my review, and that was the overall scope and verticality that was provided within the worlds of Odyssey did not accommodate Mario's moveset at the time. All they did for Mario's overall moveset in Odyssey was, you know, Cappy and what Cappy can do for you and whatnot, especially when it comes to, you know, capturing the bad guys, possessing them, whatever, and then using Cappy as a way to jump or extend your jumps and whatnot. There was a lot of verticality and there was a lot of level design within Odyssey that didn't really, like, I would say, click with Mario's, like, you know, ability to traverse them. And that was, like, you know, like, my biggest minus to the game. The game is amazing. The game is, like, pure joy. But, like, you know, they're saying, oh, isn't Odyssey the best 3D Mario platform? Like, it's not. It really isn't. So,
Interesting you say that. I actually, like, I think Odyssey is literally one of my favorites. Purely because I always feel like I have something to do moment to moment.
Oh yeah, no, that's completely fine. I'm not dragging that at all. You know, you know, I love Odyssey, and Odyssey is like one of my favorite Switch games, like, period. I'm not dragging the notion that you can keep going and do more and more stuff. It's just that, you know, Mario, especially in the 3D space, you know, was born as a platformer, and then, like, you know, I play Mario to play Mario. I wasn't disappointed, but I felt like the potential of the worlds they were held back from Mario's kit and approach within that game. Now, going off of that,
Yeah.
That's really interesting that they're bringing the approach, the obvious verticality of Odyssey, because, you know, when you see Bowser's Fury, you can see, like, you know, the verticality and, like, a lot of, you know, the level design that could have been, should have been in Odyssey is in 3D World. But now we're dealing with 3D World's mechanics and 3D World's kits and Mario's kit, which are the power-ups, which can afford a lot of verticality, which includes the helicopter box, Cat Mario, you know, etc., etc. We didn't have those things in Odyssey. You know, if you want to count the capturing mechanic, you know, that's fine. But, you know, we didn't have the power-ups in Odyssey. We did have in 3D World. So it's going to be very interesting. And I feel Nintendo understood that a little bit. So they want to take another crack at it, basically. They want to take another crack at Odyssey-type scale, but with a different type of 3D Mario mechanic. And that's why I'm really excited for Bowser's Fury. That's one of the biggest things. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I feel that more like classically trained Mario fans, I would say. Like ones who grew up with, say, 3D and World. Well, I think will appreciate this more in a 3D setting, because even if you look back to the other 3D Mario games, they don't really have the versatility when it comes to power-ups. Right. Like Mario 64, great game, absolutely fantastic game. Very limited in that design. Mostly the wing cap was the big one in that one.
Yep.
Sunshine fully relied on FLUDD, for better or worse. And then you had, of course, Galaxy, which, again, different mechanic, that was mostly the gravity. Like, it mostly played with the gravity stuff.
Right.
And there was, of course, Fire Mario was in there, but for some reason, they made it limited to a number of seconds.
Oh,
like you only had a few seconds and you lost the power up.
Man, that song lives in the deepest recesses of my nightmares. Like, bam, 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 bam. Like, yo, stop, get it out of my head. Whenever it's like about to end. Ugh.
Yeah, but 3D Land and 3D World went back to the course mechanics, and that's why I thought like returning to power ups made sense. But like once again, they're putting it in a flipping open world.
Yes.
They've never really done this before.
That's why I'm really excited. And I feel that they're going to... Like, I feel the one thing that was missing for me in Odyssey was the power-ups. And it was power-ups, you know?
I need to mention somebody, Static Shock said Cloud Mario in Mario Galaxy 2. Yes, but you could only make 3 clouds.
Right. It was still... It was not limited by time, but it was limited by usage. You know?
Yeah.
So... You know, when
you don't really have with the power-ups in 3D Land and 3D World.
Exactly.
You really don't.
It's not like the Tanuki, you can only wag your tail once, you know, or the Fire Flower. The Fire Flower, they stick with you, and that's a lot of things that 2D Mario games or Mario games back in the day, you know, like, fucked with. And, you know, I don't hate the most of the 3D Mario games for not doing that, because I guess they were tackling a different idea, but it was really nice to bring it back with that.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be interesting how it will turn out, because like it's kind of the idea that I wanted them to go with for a while, just playing just classic Mario but in 3D and see how it turns out. And I think that is really kind of what we can expect with this, well, despite also having Cat Mario in there, but I think there's more of a balance that it could be very interesting.
Right. And something that's I feel is really exciting for this game, you know, because you know, Bowser's Fury, which is I'm going to talk about a very interesting aspect which I learned yesterday, and I'm bringing like I'm sure you know, because when it comes to all this stuff, like, you guys need to understand, Don, like when I'm not awake, Don is the one that wakes me up when it comes to like announcements and Nintendo stuff. Like Don is always like on top of things. Like he when Bowser's Fury trailer came out, he's the one who like messaged me. He's like, "Yo, the trailer's out." I'm like, "Ah, bro." He was the one he's actually the one who hit me up before Sky called me in the morning when Age of Calamity got revealed, right? And he's like, "Dude," and I'm like, ugh. So like, you know, like Don's my dude. Don's my go-to guy when it comes to like the things when I'm asleep and I'm like, "Oh, it's time to wake up." Every time when I'm sleeping and I hear like I call it the 3 magic beeps. I hear bzz, bzz, bzz. And because it's usually like 1 or 2 messages, but I always get double beep because I get one from my Twitter notifications and one from my email notifications when Don messages me. And like, bzz, 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 and then that just awakens me. I'm like, okay, that must be Don. I'm like, all right, what's good? All right, and then I see it. I'm like, okay, time to get up. Yep, it's time to get up.
I remember that morning of Age of Calamity, by the way. That was the funniest part, because you immediately went, "What?"
Yo, I will never forgive Nintendo for that because I actually woke up a little hungover that morning, and I had to fucking fight it. I had to fight that shit so hard. But back to what I was saying about 3D World and Nintendo and then Bowser's Fury and stuff. You know, Bowser's Fury Array looks like a really meaty package. But the thing is, Super Mario 3D World is an amazing game, and a lot of people slept on it. Yeah. Unfortunately, because, you know, it was released on the Wii U, and we all know how that goes. Like, if you're released on the Wii U, you can only go so far. Only go so far. So you know, people are complaining about, like, you know, re-release ports and stuff like that. I'm like, listen, all right, there's so many good games trapped on the Wii U, and like to get new life on the Switch, it not only is it worth it for people who never play the game, but it's also a really good business tactic.
Right.
Like Pikmin 3 Deluxe is the highest selling Pikmin game in the series.
Yeah,
like, because, like, on the Switch, that's the power of the Switch, baby. Like, come on, man. Like, I don't want to hear that. So, I'm really excited for you guys to really experience Super Mario 3D World, because that game is beefy. If you guys never played it, it's a direct sequel to Super Mario 3D Land, which is, goddamn, Don, man. The 3DS has such good games!
Yes.
Yeah, 3D Land is actually one of my favorite 3DS games of all time. There's only
I can play through 3D Land in a couple of afternoons with its 16 flipping worlds if I'm completely satisfied by it. But like 3D World is even more massive than that, like insanely massive. Like the amount of worlds in there and the amount of levels are bizarre, but even the post game goes way beyond that. And having that all together plus another adventure plus online play, plus the snapshot mode that made Odyssey so awesome, I think it's a great deal. It's a great flipping deal.
Man, like, yo, I'm telling you right now, 100% that game is going to be a nightmare. I 100% it back on the Wii U, and I'm like, bro. Especially when you get to that post game, I'm like, bro. Oh my God.
100%ing 3D World is an absolute nightmare. An absolute nightmare.
But I'm excited to do it all over again. Especially, I really hope that online is good. I really do. Now, the thing about 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, when it comes to Bowser's Fury, a lot of people, you know, we were talking about terms of content and whatnot. Bro, is my screen not... What the fuck? Hold up. In terms of content, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people were really scared about how big the Bowser's Fury portion is going to be. Now, here's something I learned yesterday, and then that's what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure that Don is already on top of it, because that's what Don does. Bro, I'm getting significantly bothered by this. Hold on.
Oh, no.
No, it's not. It's just that my monitor, like, there's a line in my monitor where there shouldn't be a line. Anyways, it's not a damaged line. It's like, oh, the resolution is not the correct space.
Damn.
Anyways, I learned yesterday that... what a lot of people saw in the trailer is that in order to activate the Mega Bell or the Giganto Bell, like the Giga Bell, there you go. In order to activate the Giga Bell, you have to shine cat shine. You have to collect cat shines and have the light shine on it in order for it to, you know, go and activate and whatnot.
Right.
Now, from the trailer that we first saw of that happening, we saw only 4 lights shine on it in order to break it loose or whatever, and then Mario will be able to become Giant Cat Mario and stuff. Why am I... Bro, hold on. Yeah, I'm dropping frames, and I don't know why. Give me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen, as I try to figure this out. Alright, it looks like I'm not dropping frames no more, but that was really weird. Yo, ever since I got these new monitors, man, they just have been hassling me, man. Hassling me. Alright, let's see. Task Manager. I'll just take that out and take that out, I guess. Whatever. So, the thing with the shines, we only saw 4 lights shine on the Giga Bell in order to activate the Giga Bell and then, you know, move on, so on and so forth. So that gave the impression to people that the game was, that Bowser's Fury was not going to be a long adventure. What I learned today, not today, but yesterday, that 1, there's multiple Giga Bells, and 2, you're going to have to fight Fury Bowser multiple times. And what that does is that every time Fury Bowser shows up, he either shows up and he messes around with the land, and then either you can fight him or you don't, and then he'll eventually go away and go back into the water.
Funny part, apparently, and this I looked up on, I think it was the American site. So on the American site, it says if you scan the Bowser amiibo,
you force him out.
You force him out, yeah.
So, with that being said, Bowser, Fury Bowser, he messes around with the world, and you know you're able to access places you can't access with the already known worlds. But
yeah,
the more you beat the shit out of Fury Bowser, the more islands he reveals. So you fight him multiple times, and the game gets bigger every time you fight him. But he's gonna come back. So I'm like, okay, now that has me hyped, and now that has me excited. Like, oh, this game could be a bit bigger than we expected, because I consider Bowser's Fury its own game plus Super Mario 3D World.
Right.
Yeah. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's larger than people are expecting, especially since we saw a lot of the smaller cat tokens that you need to collect, and I have the feeling that those play into the cat shines appearing. So there's a lot more platforming than I think people give it credit for.
Oh yeah, definitely. I just want to know how big this world is going to be and how fast people are going to be able to beat Fury Bowser, because you know Fury Bowser, obviously, when like, you know, us Nintendo fans, Zelda fans and stuff, when we look at Fury Bowser, we, you know, something obviously pops into our head, and that's Calamity Ganon, Dark Beast Ganon, right? And that's how you make a boss, Nintendo. Man, I was so disappointed by Dark Beast Ganon. Anyways, with Fury Bowser and stuff, a lot of people are already just trying to figure out how fast they're gonna be able to beat him. Because, you know, we have speed runs in Breath of the Wild where it's like, oh, how fast they can get to Calamity Ganon, how fast they can beat Calamity Ganon, and how fast they can beat Breath of the Wild. So I feel like, you know, how fast they can get Fury Bowser up and running, how fast they can beat Fury Bowser the first time, second time, how many times you have to beat him, and whatnot. So I'm like, you know, Bowser's Fury looks like it's going to be quite interesting, you know, speed running experiment in terms of that and whatnot. But you know, speaking of Fury Bowser, and if you guys didn't know, I see a lot of people in the chat discussing him. Fury Bowser is the name of whatever the fuck that is, right?
Yes.
Godslayer Bowser never had any type of confirmation behind it. It was just a fan-made name, unfortunately, because Godslayer Bowser sounds really dope or whatever. But it's not. It was never confirmed. The actual confirmed name was Fury Bowser. And can we talk about that design a little bit, Don? Like, how did you feel when it's like a bigger, badder Bowser? I was like, is someone at Nintendo okay? Like, is someone? Are you guys okay? Do you need to talk?
The first time I saw Fury Bowser was in that artwork that they released, because it was like in the top of my emails, like this Fury Bowser revealed in 3D World. It's like, what is this? Because it looks even more menacing in the artwork with like the very glowing eyes, Mario and Bowser Jr. in the foreground,
you
and
know, the fire hair, the size of it. Ugh.
Yeah. So I only saw it in the trailer afterwards, but like even in the trailer, like it's a menace. He attacks. He doesn't stop.
He's very scary, extremely scary, and I'm like I play Mario not to be freaked out. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's interesting. You know, I adore the design of Fury Bowser, and I like the name of Fury Bowser. And I see that Evzo said Furious Bowser sounds better. I like Fury Bowser because, you know, less syllables, and now obviously Bowser's Fury Bowser. So I mean, like, you know, I feel it rolls off the tongue a little bit better, and that design is just right up my alley. That metal music that's playing when he gets summoned, and I'm like, bro,
yeah.
And
the only time I remember like Bowser being this big was either Giga Bowser in Smash or in the Yoshi Island games.
Remember, he was huge in well, I mean, he was huge but not that huge. He was big in Galaxy 2, but he wasn't gigantic like that.
He wasn't gigantic, no.
But
I mean, he was also bigger than usual in Sunshine, but let's not talk about that boss fight.
Yeah, no, we're not. No, we're not talking about. I honestly think this is the Bowser at his like an interactable Bowser at his biggest. That's why I think it is. You know.
Sure, I agree with that. Yeah.
And with that being said, you know, the first thing that came to my mind when I saw that, you know, people say G-Max Bowser, people say Heartless Bowser, you know, from Kingdom Hearts and stuff. The first thing I saw was Don. I don't know if you saw my tweet or knew that this was in existence. Red Hulk Venom Ghost Rider. If you guys didn't know,
I saw that in your reaction. Yeah, I was like, yeah, that sounds about accurate.
Yeah, if you guys didn't know, that's a thing in Marvel Comics. like Ghost, like the Red Hulk. The base is the Red Hulk, that has the Venom symbiote and also has the Spirit of Vengeance. So it's Red Hulk. It's Red Hulk, Venom, Ghost Rider. And I'm like when I saw that design, like, you know, like the black ooze and like the fire just spreading around and just how fucking gigantic and big, and that the darkness, as soon as he comes out of his cocoon, the darkness surrounds the world. I'm like, man, I'm honestly, Don, I'm sad. I'm a bit sad about, you know, no Nintendo, like we haven't had a Nintendo Direct or a general Nintendo Direct in a bit. I mean, sure, the 7-minute trailer, the Overview trailer, and the whatnot was good, but I just, you know, I really want to have a Direct in which they talked about that design a little bit more. And it's like, oh, you know, we decided to give this, and it was, you know, headed by this guy designed it.
Yeah.
The reason why we did this is because yada yada yada. You know, I really wanted to see in depth, to see like, okay, who the fuck decided to, like, yo, let's take Bowser and just make him, like, let's make him scary, like. Man.
Yeah.
I just.
Yeah.
I wish there was more to this, but in that aspect, what are you looking forward to most when it comes to 3D World and Bowser's Fury? And remember, this is the 5th dimension, ladies and gentlemen. That we don't have to single ourselves to specifically just, you know, the main topic is Bowser's Fury, Super Mario 3D World. But if you want to go off a tangent, you know, be my guest.
I mean, this was honestly, this was like 3D World, like super excites me because I love that game. But there was other news that also excited me this week, which was new Pokemon Snap.
Oh, we gotta talk about that. Yeah, new Pokemon, bro. Man, people are really under the impression that I don't play video games and that I only play Zelda, Kingdom Hearts, like Mario, and maybe and Smash, like. Maybe.
You literally play Persona on your Twitch channel. What are they talking about?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, to be granted, that was my first Persona. So, like, granted, that's like...
At least you're open to new things. That's good.
But Pokemon Snap is one of my favorite fucking games of all time. I was on that train. It's like, yo, Pokemon... Like, the Wii U was perfect for a Pokemon Snap 2 or whatever the fuck. And now we're getting it for the Switch. And I'm like, I'm excited. Let's go, man. So what's exciting you about new Pokemon Snap?
First of all, it actually looks really good. Props to, like, it's made by Bandai Namco. Props for them actually making the world like a living place. You see the Pokemon running around, and like the animation on that stuff is top notch. Because even I don't really feel like sometimes the Pokemon Company does go too far on this, like showcasing the Pokemon in a more natural or fun way. Right. And they kind of stepped away from the more unique ways to showcase that. Like, they used to do a lot of spin-offs back in the day, a lot of more interesting spin-offs. Like, remember Pokemon Pinball? We haven't had a Pokemon Pinball since Game Boy Advance.
Bro, you know what I remember? I remember Hey You Pikachu. I don't care what anybody says about that game. I love that game. Yo, Pikachu is my homie, man. I love that game. So don't give me that. No. That game was good. That game was great. That shit was amazing.
I'll be honest. I only played that game after it came out many years ago because it was never officially released in Europe.
Really? Wait, really?
Yeah.
I would expect I would expect that like Europe to get it first. Wow.
No, we never got that game.
That's unfortunate. Wow. So, what did you think when you finally played it?
I didn't think it was very good.
No, Don, you have to be a kid. Yeah, I was a kid when I played that game, and y'all are like, "Oh man, look at HMK's nostalgia goggles are like firing off." No, I will bust out the Switch. I will hunt down a microphone. I will play that game again for y'all. Like, hey, you Pikachu.
Pokemon, by the way, is the only franchise that has its own dedicated Nintendo handheld. Do you remember that, right?
The Pokemon
Mini. Pokemon Mini.
Yeah, the Tamagotchi thing, right?
The Pokemon Mini.
Pokemon Mini?
Yeah.
Hold up.
Look it up.
I'm thinking of something
Pokemon
else
Mini.
because I remember there was like it was called like I don't know if it was called something else in Europe, but in the US it was called Pokemon Pikachu, right? It
No,
was
that's not it.
Okay.
That's not it at all. No, no.
See.
I will look. I will give you the Wikipedia
No, I got it.
article right now.
I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
Now. Yo, is this a console? Is that a fucking? Is that a cartridge?
Yep.
What is this?
This was a cartridge-based console made by Nintendo all the way back in 2001, 2002.
Bro, what the fuck? I mean, to be fair, this does look like Pokemon Pikachu. But you know what I'm talking about when I say Pokemon Pikachu, right?
Yeah, but it never had the Pikachu color. That's the funny part. It had three completely different colors, and that's how Fun part. This is how I got my love for the Pokemon Wooper, because my first interaction with the Pokemon Wooper was the Pokemon Mini in the Blue Edition.
That's cute. Well, I'm looking at a box or a Woopers on the box, and that's adorable.
Yeah, it had its own version of Pokemon Pinball, which was fantastic because you used the Z button on the side there, and you could just play that way one-handed. There was also a dedicated version, and you're not gonna believe this, a dedicated version of Tetris. They actually released Tetris on this thing.
What the heck? Yo, Nintendo be wilding with their ideas, man. They really think they got the juice when it comes to certain consoles. You explain this to me is just making me just remember shit like, the Virtual Console. And,
yeah.
Nintendo really thought they had the juice. But... yeah, you're right. They don't really do things like this anymore with Pokemon or like with their other franchises.
No.
Okay, they don't do it to the same degree as they did back in the day, because I mean, like, not too long ago they did the whole Game & Watch thing, the special edition Game & Watch that came out.
Yeah.
But nothing to this degree, not anymore. Man,
no.
Like growing up in the 90s and the 2000s was wild as a Nintendo fan, bro. That shit was everywhere, man.
Yeah. Like, it's a completely different world now. Like, they have more, like, standardized what they do every single year.
Exactly.
And that's okay. Like, games are still good. So, but they don't really take chances as much.
The main thing that we're getting into the whole business philosophical aspect of the fifth dimension. But I feel the main reason why is because it's obvious with every type of generation or every type of like year span when it comes to the marketplace for things like this is obviously children and families and whatnot, but mostly children. The children consumer base has evolved way differently from when I was a kid, right? It's usually like tablets, Fortnite, easy to play games, something that you can get pleasure from in terms of either like not even gotchas, but just like something quick to go and whatnot. So like a device like this definitely wouldn't survive in today's world, and I feel that's the main reason that Nintendo and other companies definitely understand that they can't be releasing things like that. So they rather just they get you one thing, and then they sell everything that you need in that one thing under the Tuscan Sun. So that's how that's I feel is a really big unfortunate reason why the 3DS finally went under it. Man, bro, I love 3DS is one of my favorite consoles of all time.
Yeah, totally. I think 3DS was absolutely fantastic right until the end.
Yep.
I mean, people very much complained when there were still 3DS games coming out in 2017, but man, I enjoyed, for example, Samus Returns a lot.
Oh, Samus Returns is my favorite, dude. Bro, how the fuck... man, we had this conversation. How the fuck do you make a remake of Metroid 2, which is a garbage-ass game? How do you make a remake of a garbage-ass game and make it amazing? You know how? That's how.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
People complain in 2017 about 3DS games. It's like, oh, if only you knew! If only you knew! But the Switch is...
Dude, I literally bought another 3DS literally 2 months ago. Like, I got a... completely in box Pokemon 2DS XL.
Man, see, I still have both of my babies right here. Both of my babies. This is my capture card one, and this is my personal one. Man, God, I still have all these games. I love the 3DS.
Yeah, and they're still good though. Like people are saying, "Oh, we don't like 3DS games because they were low resolution."
Who's we? Like what the fuck?
Yeah. People, games are still fun. Who cares?
Exactly. The thing with like this definitely not knocking the Switch because but I like the whole circle point is that Nintendo really, and Nintendo and other consoles, other companies realize that, like, you know, we don't want to spread out big pieces of technology because kids these days expect everything to be under one sun, especially with the rise of tablets. And then, you know, the Switch is the things like, okay, like, you know, we can't have people handling multiple consoles because that's not what the kids want no more. So everything we're going to release is going to be releasing on this. And, you know, for the longest time, Nintendo was always home console, what do you call them? Handheld. Home console, handheld. Home console, handheld. And now they're just like, no, just everything down and stuff because that's where the money is.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. You know.
I mean, it also gives us a lot more games per year because even though they still have off years, like 2020 was the off year, but that 2019 was amazing again. I still think that with those on and off years, they still give us plenty of games always to look forward to now, which is always now forced into one console, which I think at the end of the day is a good thing.
No, it's an amazing thing. You know, like you say, it drives the focus to one thing. So obviously, you know, we don't have to like, okay, you know, we're getting this many Wii U games, we're getting this many 3DS games. It's like, no, it's only the Switch. You know, what else are they gonna be developing for? You know, either phone or computer. You know, Pokemon Unite or whatnot. But you know, we only have to look forward to the Switch. It's like, that's it and stuff. And honestly, it's a better route now, but I do miss the days of like, you know, multiple different things, giving multiple different ideas and experiences. But all of our experiences have to come with this. That's why I appreciate the Switch so much because it's so versatile compared to other consoles.
Right.
With that being said, let's veer off into another point where this is, you know, once again has always been the talk of the town, especially with aspects of certain games that are coming out very soon, including that of 3D World and Bowser's Fury, Monster Hunter Rise, new Pokemon Snap, and other games that are on the quote-unquote horizon, such as Breath of the Wild 2 and whatnot. Don, do you believe that we are getting, and it doesn't have to be by the same, a Nintendo Switch Pro or whatever the like of that, and do you think we're going to get it this year?
I definitely think we'll get one. The question of getting this year depends on a lot, really, because they usually, it's not usually their biggest game, but they usually have a game alongside of it that drives the hardware. Right. For example, with the Switch Lite in 2019, it was Link's Awakening. Yeah. So they need a game alongside of it, and placing that with a game is the most difficult right now. Like, I have no doubt it's coming, because I have the feeling they want to enlarge the cycle of the Switch a bit more, and considering the amount of software it has, it makes sense. But I don't know when it would come and with which game it would come, and that will be the biggest question going forward. Like, when is the best time to release it, and when is the best time to release it with a game? Because you don't have to release it with a game, you can just go ahead, but it also handicaps you a little bit because it allows you to sell more at a certain point. And at the end of the day, Nintendo is a company that wants to make money.
But with that being said, you know, obviously, if you're not going to release, well, that's not entirely true, considering that, I don't know, there's way too many variables to that. But I mean, I want to feel that, you know, releasing a new upgraded console without something to go hand in hand with it would cripple the sales initially. But then I was like, but the PS4 Pro didn't do it. But the PS4 Pro's success could be, you know, it could be, I mean, what's the word, argued or whatnot. But and the install base for the Nintendo Switch is already so huge, you know. So
yeah, but you also see a shift with Sony, right? Like, it's not limited to Nintendo, because if you look at currently at the PlayStation 5, it's not selling well in Japan. Like, because basically that specific section of the market doesn't have enough to play at the moment.
Right.
And it could be part of what's going on with the world, obviously. Yeah. But I also think it has to do with what do you have to offer for this specific market. And they made a huge shift to like encourage more Western sales, and the games they create is more focused on the Western market.
Yeah, Western oriented.
Yeah. So like it's more focused on Europe and America now than it has ever been. So Nintendo is still in the most unique position of all of them, because they are purely Japanese console with mostly Japanese games alongside of it.
Yep. And you know, that's really a thing when it comes to like you know specific marketplaces. You know, everyone like there are games that are like everyone loves this, and there are games where like, oh no, it'll only sell in these specific regions or whatnot. And Nintendo, I feel like, has a really good spot right now, especially with Super Mario coming out soon. Because everybody loves Mario. I mean, come on, everyone loves Mario. Everyone loves Pokemon, and Monster Hunter is gigantic, pretty much everywhere. You know, so those are the three main hitters that we're looking forward to, and that we know are coming out soon and stuff. Me personally, I'm waiting for No More Heroes 3. When is that game coming out, Suda? Come on, man! It was supposed to come out last year, but I understand what's going on. I definitely understand what's going on. But you know, Travis, I got that itch. I already beat No More Heroes 1 and 2 on the Switch again, all over again, which I really
Oh, you did?
streamed.
Nice.
Oh
Nice,
yeah,
nice,
man.
nice.
Bro, I love those games, man.
Mhm.
Like, but the one thing people need to understand is that those games aren't really that long. They're about like 10 hours a piece, which is not bad. I mean, like Suda games are not long. I just hope that No More Heroes 3 is, you know, a bit longer than 10 hours. You know, but it's
Talking about games we haven't heard about in ages, Bayonetta 3.
What? Which one?
Talking about Bayonetta 3.
Oh yeah, Bayonetta 3, bro. That shit's a legend. That game's never coming out. You know, every time. No. I'm yo Don. I'm being serious. Yo, Hideki Kamiya is always like, every year on the year since that game got revealed in 2017. Oh, how's development going on Bayonetta 3? It's going well. All right, that's 2017. How's development going? It's going well. Development for Bayonetta 3 is going well. 2019. So are we gonna see anything for Bayonetta 3? Development is going well. Last year, literally last year, not even a month ago, not even a full fucking month ago. How's development going? It's going well. It's going well, man. It's going well. I think at this point, I think it's a meme. I think Hideki Kamiya, it's a meme for Hideki Kamiya. I really don't, like, at this point, I don't think Bayonetta 3 was ever in development. They made that cinematic trailer. They wanted to fool people up. They want people like, yeah, Nintendo Switch, get it up and stuff. And that game never into development. And then at this point, Kamiya's just like, yeah, nah, it's a meme. And at this point, the reason, like, oh, but why would he do it? Because he's still salty about scale.
I look forward to to be disproven like a month from now, and then suddenly here's a release date for Bayonetta 3.
Yeah, and then you say that, but then like in a month from now, it's all like, oh, like Bayonetta 3 wasn't up to snuff, and like the costs were too much, so we decided to cancel production. I am very sorry and stuff. I'm like, what are you gonna do? Not buy his games? At this point, Platinum Games is a what do you call it? Is a commissioned developer where they develop other people's games and stuff. As long as they put another name on it, you're not gonna know Platinum Games, you know, made it and shit. Like, come on, like
I can't believe Bayonetta 3 turns into a first-person shooter.
Yeah, nah. Yo, Bayonetta 3, yo, watch Bayonetta 3 is gonna become not what's that other game that game that they're developing for Square Enix? Fuck.
Near Replica?
No. Near Replica is being handled by someone else, which is funny. It's another game completely unrelated. Bro, wait, nah, this shit's bothering me, and I gotta find this out. All right, while I'm finding this out, please listen to the musical silence of Dawn.
Hello, everybody. How you doing? Hope you're having a nice day. I'm not sure what to say at this point.
Babylon's Fall. There you go. That game. Babylon's Fall. That's a Square Enix game that's coming out, being developed by Platinum Games, and like, you know, it looks amazing, and you're gonna buy it and stuff, and then you're gonna keep wondering where Bayonetta 3 is coming out, but it's not gonna come out. But speaking of other games that are in the darkness and stuff, bro, how about Metroid Prime 4? How about that?
Yeah, Metroid Prime 4, huh?
Yeah.
I wonder how far off it is. I think it's still a while off, to be honest, because they literally rebooted at the beginning of 2019, right? So it's only been 2 years for a game like that. It's a significant cycle, and I don't think we'll maybe see it for another year.
Another 2 years, man. That game's never coming out either. You know, I'll have more hope. Like, here's the thing. I already have enough hope in Breath of the Wild 2. Because I'm a Zelda fan, we are a Zelda fan. And
I mean, they actually showed Breath of the Wild 2 for starters.
Yeah, for starters, they actually showed Breath of the Wild 2. And me and Don, as both of us Zelda fans, we know what it's like to wait for a Zelda game.
Yeah.
Like we like, you know, this is nothing new. This is nothing new. When Nintendo back in the day, I said this multiple times. When Breath of the Wild first got revealed back in 2014 and it's like, oh, it's released in 2015. I'm like, yeah, okay, all right, sure, all right.
Talking about Breath of the Wild, maybe it is completely off topic, right? But I think it's an interesting topic. Have you ever, like, I assume that you fully completed Breath of the Wild, right, at one point?
I'm missing seeds, but everything else.
I mean, for the most part, you did it, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever felt the intention of doing it all again?
Yeah, and I have.
Yeah, here's the weird part.
Yeah.
I've tried to play for Breath of the Wild 2 times again since I fully 100% completed it.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's at some point, like, I let it go. But because I already felt like I did it, because there's so much to do in that game.
Don, I'm sorry. I could not let it go, man. I'm telling you. There are moments where I'm like, I need to enter this world again. Like, that shit is like a drug to me.
Right.
Like, when I start over master mode or this mode, I just find different ways to play with it and different ways to fuck around with it. And it's so funny. Every time I boot it up and my brother or Sky sees that, like, oh, HMK is online. HMK is now playing Breath of the Wild. They call me up. I'm like, they call me up and like, what are you doing? You're done. You beat the game. You're done. Stop playing the game. Right. I'm like, no. I know. I'm not. I'm like, you can't. Here's the thing, guys. You don't beat Breath of the Wild. You don't complete Breath of the Wild. You don't stop playing Breath of the Wild. All right.
It's a problem that I don't have with other Zelda games or other games in general. But once I get like a good number of shrines again, I feel like I'm just going to go to the end again. I'm not going to do all of this again.
Right.
Because I feel like I completed it. It was a nice journey. It was a big, chunky journey. But I don't want to take that entire journey again.
I would take the journey again, but make it a different journey. That's what the beauty of what Breath of the Wild can do for you. You know?
Right.
Like when you replay Ocarina of Time or replay Majora's Mask, you know. Well, I mean, okay, not Majora's Mask because you can tackle that in different ways. But when you replay Ocarina of Time, you know, you're pretty, you know, you're pretty stuck to a path. But with Breath of the Wild, I'm like, okay, this time, I'm gonna save Revali for last because I don't like him. He can eat my ass, so I'm gonna save him last, or maybe I won't even save him at all. You know, like all that stuff. So there's very interesting aspects that really makes the game alive and different every time you play it. And you know, I understand like because the game is, you know, the game is massive, right? So I understand when people don't want to do that again. But for me, that's I enjoy doing all the time, over and over and over again. Like it's crazy.
Right. For me, it feels like I made a grand journey, but I feel that grand journey had a beginning and an end. I'm very satisfied with it.
Right.
So I didn't feel like playing through it again, even though maybe I'd do it in like a number of years from now when the game is completely skipped my mind. But even now, I feel like I mostly remember everything that I did in that game.
Right. But it was a grand experience and something that
absolutely.
All Zelda games I'm willing to play over again except for Zelda 2. But I'm gonna.
Fun fact. I play Wind Waker at one point every single year.
Oh, that's great. That's great to like. I rebeat Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask every year. I make sure I play and beat that game every year that I can. And now what I have with the 3DS, that makes it so much easier. But circling back a little bit, Michael Jason, to answer your question, because I saw that your question might have been answered a little bit, but to give you a little bit of perspective, Super Mario 3D World is a sequel to Super Mario 3D Land that originally released for the Wii U, but it's going to have a lot more components. It's going to be changed up in speed. It's going to be 50% faster than the Wii U version. It is a massive game that you could play with your friends locally, but now exclusively on the Switch online. However, they are adding something called Bowser's Fury, which seems to be an open world style sense of Odyssey, but with the Super Mario 3D World aspect and controls and kit and whatnot, which is going to be completely new content, all bang for your buck, and I am looking forward to it. And for earlier in the chat, I'm pretty sure it was Kingdom Hearts Fanby where it's like, yo, this is how you do a port. This is how you do a port. You take the game, you make it look better, you enhance it, you add extra content onto it, and you sell it for the same price. Wow! It's almost like Nintendo knows how to do that kind of stuff when it comes to Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition My lord, I love that game so much.
I'm gonna ask you a question on that note. What did you think of Future Connected?
I loved it. I loved okay, look, there are some disappointments where like, but where's the rest? Like, people were like, I expected more story. I'm like, guys, when they said it was an epilogue, do you know what an epilogue is? Like,
yes.
It's still part of the original story, but ending it off on a note. It's not meant to set up something else. A lot of people thought it was gonna set up a more of a connection into Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which exists, or set up Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and I'm like, you're out of your mind. Like, you are out of your mind. And honestly,
it's literally about the story of Melia and Shulk after everything has ended in the main game.
Yes, and I honestly like what direction they took it, because, you know, with how Xenoblade Chronicles ended, the one thing that I always wondered if they were gonna do was, you know, retake the capital. And I'm like, so we're not gonna, like, when I beat Xenoblade Chronicles the first time, I'm like, so we're just gonna leave the capital like that? We're just gonna leave it there? So what's going to go on with, you know, everyone and shit, you know? But then now we're like, yeah, you know, that's the point of Future Connect. And the Bionist shoulder, come on, man, dude, shit was dope. I love that game. I
will say though that, like, maybe the boss where it's always about in Future Connect was a bit underwhelming, but
yeah, because I mean, I feel it was, a lot of people say it was underwhelming because it lacked an identity. That's why, you know,
a bit. I think that's a fair argument.
Oh no, it is a fair argument, but it was. I feel it wasn't really about that at this point, because I mean,
sure,
you know, the one thing that I would like for the one thing I would have liked for them to explore a little bit, which they kind of didn't. I mean, they did and they didn't, was the anomaly, because I mean, like, fuck, I can't really talk. Xenoblade Chronicles spoilers. Like, massive Xenoblade Chronicles spoilers. So, if you guys didn't know, when you guys keep on telling me who would win in a fight between Sora and Shulk, and I'm like, are they both at their prime? And I'm like, yes, they're both at their prime. Shulk, easily, laughably, hilariously, deliriously. Shulk at his prime would dismantle. I love Sora. Sora's one of my favorite characters. But if we're gonna talk about Sora, if you're gonna talk about Sora versus Shulk at their absolute prime, Shulk will beat Sora. Like, Shulk will beat the ever-living shit out of him, because Shulk became a god at the end of Xenoblade Chronicles, right? And Shulk's wish was to give up his godhood in order to create a world without gods. You know, so, you know, like, but he gave up the power. I'm like, that's not what we were talking about. We were talking about Prime. Anyways, oh, hi, hello. Hi, everyone. My beautiful fiance has entered the 5th dimension. Say hi. Hi,
5th dimension.
And say hi to Don.
Hi.
Don NintenDaan is one of my friends.
Hi.
Over from the UK, who we're gonna be talking. I was gonna bring it up, but we're gonna bring that up later. That was able to get an amazing. Was able to get an amazing job, which we're gonna be talking only a little bit later. But when it comes to Shulk Prime and Sora Prime, Shulk could beat the shit out of him, and Shulk made the wish in order to create a world without gods, in order to create like a perfect world that, you know, is ruled by the people who live in it, the, you know, humanity, morality, all that stuff, mortals, blah blah blah. Case in point is that even after he made the wish, there was an anomaly in Future Connected, like a tear in the fabric of reality. I'm like, okay, so we're not gonna explain that, and the only explanation is like, oh, when Shulk did the thing, that must have tore a hole in reality and something that seep through. I'm like, that's not an explanation. That's not an but whatever. That's all we got. So yeah, that was the that's me and my 5th dimensional rant. Yeah. What were we talking about again? Like,
I think first we're talking about. We only said like 2-3 sentences about new Pokemon Snap, and then immediately went into this entire spiel of everything.
Yeah, which is good. You know, that's what the 5th dimension is always about.
Yeah. But I'll say this with this though.
Yeah.
The actual like structure of how you get rated for your photos seems even more brutal than the original.
Oh,
because
yeah.
Opus used to be a absolute bastard when it comes to rating your photos. It's like they just threw random shit at the wall and see how it works. But like with new Pokemon Snap, it's once again based on pose, size, direction, placement, other Pokemon in the frame, and what is happening in the background.
Right, man, bro. I want to, but that's the thing that scares me a little bit. You know, even though we see one thing one way in the trailers and stuff, I just with like Don. What do you like? Have you ever felt like certain video games these days just got softer? And I feel like, you know, it's gonna be a lot like these Pokemon Snap photo. The way they rate the photos is gonna be very lenient.
I don't think they're going to be very lenient with Pokemon Snap photos, because I saw it in one of the images where the Pikachu was perfectly in the middle of the frame but very zoomed out, and they got for the size only like 100 points.
Yeah.
So I honestly think it will be actually very punishing if you don't do stuff right, which actually kind of looking forward to.
Yeah, me too. You know, definitely, because like, you know, Pokemon's, that's the thing with the original Pokemon Snap, the game itself was only so long, where, you know, you had to go back and make sure you took the pictures right in order to get the maximum score and the maximum gameplay and whatnot, because only with the amount of points that you accumulate, only then Professor Oak gives you more shit. And then when you get all of the shit, then you're able to take the monuments. And then when you take a picture of all the monuments, he's like, ooh, it's the sky. And then that's where Mew is. And then you have to take a picture of Mew. And if you don't take a picture of Mew...
I think that level was called Rainbow, not even Sky. It was called Rainbow.
Yeah, it was Rainbow. But that's the thing. I will never forget that one voice clip of Professor Oak. He's like, this is the answer. It's the sky. And I'm like, oh, man... Okay.
The only thing voice clip I remember of Professor Oak is wonderful.
Yeah. Oh my god. Do you want to keep this photo? Yeah. Oh my god. And you know, I was kind of sad that, you know, Todd is nowhere to be seen so far in new Pokemon Snap. And there is a theory flying around that's saying that the professor, who we actually know with a name, is actually known as Professor Mirror on Lentil Island. Professor Mirror, a lot of people thought that Professor Mirror was Todd, but now we have a name, it's Professor Mirror. And people are like, but what's Todd's last name? Todd's last name is Snap. It's literally Todd Snap.
Todd Snap, yeah.
So, like that, like Professor Mirror, is the Professor Todd? Nope. That's thrown out the window. Goodbye. Game over. You lose. Good day. Man, but
I think Todd was also in the anime in like 1 or 2 episodes in the first season or something.
Oh no, he was there for a good. He was like there for a whole, like, there was like a whole mini arc, and he was like traveling with Ash for like 5 episodes. Like he was there for a good chunk. You know?
Fair enough.
Oh, but Zentar says Todd got erased from the Pokemon universe. I don't think you'll ever see him again in the anime. Never say never, because in the latest Pokemon anime, the one that's going on right now, they've recently confirmed that Gary's coming back, and I'm like, yo, I didn't see this motherfucker since was it Hoenn or Sinnoh?
Right.
It was a lot, but Gary's coming back, guys. Gary's coming back, and he's not coming back as a professor, because that's the reason why he left. Because he's like, oh, you know, I'm gonna give up Pokemon training because I want to be a professor like my granddad, like Professor Oak. That's why I gave it up originally. But he's not coming back as a professor. He's coming back as a big boy. So yeah, like Gary's back, bro. So never say never. Ooh, that'd be dope, man.
Yeah, it's funny because the guy who voiced Todd has done also so much in the Pokemon series. He's still active, actually.
Yeah.
Voices a lot of the Pokemon. Funny enough, mostly the male ones.
Yep.
And then a bunch of other voices in a bunch of other games. I think he was, for example, in Brawl, he did like Gulpin and Munchlax.
That's crazy, man. Oh my god.
He's still active to this day.
So like Todd is like sitting right there, just like, you know, like, yo, am I gonna voice Todd again? And it's like, nope. We got this new protagonist and this new professor and this new and new and new. And I'm like, yeah, man, whatever. Bro,
he was Weevil in Yu-Gi-Oh.
I can hear it. I can hear it
Yeah.
now. Yeah, I can hear it.
Yeah.
But all things considered, you know, I feel Nintendo right now is at a really interesting place considering what's going on with the world, you know, with the COVID pandemic. And whatnot, and the releasing of their games, like we were talking about, new Pokemon Snap, Monster Hunter Rise, and Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, which is literally coming out in less than a month. But something that I really want to know, I really want to know what's the plan beyond that. And I understand that, you know, Nintendo could be put at a position where, you know, they're not comfortable releasing certain games or not comfortable talking about certain games. But at the same time, you know, they've been seeming very willy-nilly. I mean, case in point, fucking Age of Calamity. Like, bro, like, I'm pretty sure there wasn't even a month between announcement and release, right? And they've been sitting on that in their pocket.
Everything feels like a blur. When was that game announced again?
Like, out of nowhere, I'll tell you that.
I think it was September or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so maybe
2 months.
Like 2 months. Yeah, maybe 2 months, which is still a very small amount of time, right? And that just really goes to show us that Nintendo could really be sitting on a lot of things that we don't know about when it comes to 2021. So, you know, I see a lot of people disheartening in the aspect, which I have a video coming out tomorrow or maybe Sunday. I don't know. It's already done.
I must correct XA show the past March pretty big question mark. I think past April, because April is when the new Pokemon Snap comes out.
Exactly. You know, so with that, you know, with that in the bag, it could be possible Nintendo really is, you know, holding off on a huge announcement. They have a lot of things ready, but they're just holding off on announcement or promotion, considering, you know, what's going on with the world and whatnot. And a lot of people, I feel, are getting disheartened without the lack of communication, with the lack of Nintendo Directs. But I have a video coming out addressing all of that and whatnot. But the biggest marker to that whole idea is that I feel that Nintendo, you know, it's the same answer I have every time Nintendo does some weird wild boy shit. And that Nintendo really, out of all the other companies, they really roll to the beat of their own drum. No one tells them what to do, and, you know, we've seen that case in point time and time again. You know, there's a lot of companies that, you know, bend over backwards when it comes to, you know, being transparent with their consumer base, when they want, you know, make sure they announce certain things at a certain time.
By the way, do you actually know how Nintendo Direct started?
Like, but beyond the console, I'm pretty sure it wasn't an Iwata ask, but I never actually... No.
So I will tell the story very short because it's an interesting story. So, before 2011, Nintendo used to do what's called the Nintendo Conference in Japan every September.
Wasn't that it's not Space World? Not Space World, right?
It's the follow up. It was the one that came after now Space World. Space World was first, then it became the Nintendo Conference.
Okay. Where
they showcased games for Japan. Those reels which we had during the Wii and DS era, that sort of stuff. They did that until 2010, and in 2011, obviously it didn't go well in the first couple of months of the 3DS.
Oh man, I remember that was rough.
Yeah. 2 weeks after they announced the price cut in the middle of the summer, they hold the yearly Nintendo conference in Japan, but they rebranded it, despite also talking about Wii and stuff, but they still called it Nintendo 3DS conference, removed all the financial stuff, and made Iwata host the entire thing live on the stage and talking about games that are coming.
Right.
That turned out to be popular. It was also where they did a big segment on Skyward Sword, for example. Then that turned out really successful, and Iwata thought, why don't we talk more often directly to the consumer? And so literally a month later in Japan and America, the first Nintendo Direct started. And it was basically from direct communication to fans. And that's literally where it came from. Funny enough, the first American one was about 10 minutes. Like, super short, with Reggie just talking about stuff coming in the next month. But the first Japanese one is literally the ones we still see to this very day, where they do like 35 minutes of information about stuff they have coming up.
Any Nintendo Direct that's over 20 minutes, I'm just like, yeah, that's the good stuff. And honestly, you know, I feel that was just a really, like, they knocked it out of the park with that whole concept and stuff, and I love the whole concept of Nintendo Directs. It was such a success. You know, people have these, like, crazy expectations every time they hear the Nintendo Direct, right? And then, you know, other companies try to emulate that with PlayStation doing State of Play, with Xbox doing Inside Xbox, you know, so on and so forth. And I just feel that, you know, these expectations have been, like, you know, like Nintendo literally reshaped of how, you know, companies announce their things. You know, it was always either, you know, a press conference that was reserved for a specific, you know, event. It was like, damn, we gotta wait for TGS, damn, we gotta wait for that, damn, we gotta wait for this, or maybe even just, you know, you know, releasing information to a publication. But back when they were physical and whatnot, but you know, no one orders physical magazines anymore, unfortunately.
Right. But so, it turns out how Nintendo started, right? It's literally born from an idea to be more direct to their consumers, and it's like they literally did one at the end of last year with the Direct Minis, but it's a concept that's now literally almost 10 years old.
Oh,
like, but in October, it's 10 years old. Even a month earlier, if you count like what they did with the Nintendo conference, but literally the concept of doing it directly to the consumer is about 10 years old now.
Which is insane, but you know, it's some insane. It's enjoyable, and it's very like I feel there's a lot of people that appreciate that kind of communication, that kind of stuff. But you know, like something really digs at me saying that you know Nintendo's trying to distance away from that, and I don't know how I don't know how I feel about that. You know, because you know once again, like we were discussing before, Nintendo really beats roasts to beat their own drum. They do things how they do it. They do things the way they want to do it. So I feel like they might be in a position where they just abandon the idea of Nintendo Directs because, you know, them just hyping up trailers, them just hyping up Smash reveals or just dropping trailers and stuff, I feel it gets a very similar effect to what they would have done, you know, when it came to just putting together a Direct. So they're like, okay, you know, because Nintendo Directs was all about, you know, like, what eventually evolved into was them cutting out the middleman. It's just like, okay, you know, just cutting the fluff, just doing it directly to you. But now it looks like they're just cutting even more fluff, in which they're just like, okay, like Nintendo Directs, that's not direct enough. Direct enough is just like, okay, there's a trailer, go nuts, you got this.
Yeah,
like,
what is interesting to look back on. So they did at the end of December. They did the one for Super Nintendo World. And that was the first time since Iwata passed that they did the direct-to-you motion, the Chokusetsu, which in Japanese. They haven't done that since Iwata passed, and I was surprised when Miyamoto did that. Like, they never acknowledged it afterwards. Never.
Because usually in their place, I think it was Koizumi would do the snap, so that's why they were just, like, in place of that.
Yeah, but even in, like, when it passed, 2015 to 2017, they never did it afterwards.
Yep.
Never. It's kind of insane to think about.
Yeah. You know, because I mean, like Iwata was the one that you know, like popularized the motion and whatnot, and man, God rest his soul. But
yeah,
onto more, you know, I would say pressing topics when it comes to like you know Nintendo, like their current state of the company. And trust me, this ain't one of those streams like, oh man, Nintendo, they're looking really.
I mean, we've talked about plenty of positive stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like, you know, people constantly, every year, every month, people are like, oh, Nintendo's doomed, and this, you know.
They're not.
Exactly.
They're
you know,
not.
Don and I, like, you know, on this cast, we know much better that we know that not only Nintendo's doing very well with the Switch, but they have an insane amount of money that they're just sitting on. Like, you know, to put into perspective, and I've talked about this on multiple times on my own streams, where Nintendo literally has so much money that they can fail 5 console lifetimes in a row and they'll still be fine.
Yeah, and you also have to realize that the amount of software that they're selling now per quarter is absolutely insane.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
it's back on the height of the Wii days, really. And it's sort of insane that they're overtaking already certain DS software with Animal Crossing and Mario Kart alone.
Man. Oh, when Animal Crossing first came out, because, I mean, of course, you know, that was, like, during the boom of the, not the boom, but I mean, like, the straight up, like, it helped it was coinciding when lockdown was happening. So, you know, people just, like, went nuts with Animal Crossing. And, bro, that shit, I'm telling you right now, that shit helped, man. But
yeah, absolutely.
The Animal Crossing sold so many copies. It sold so many Switches. That shit was insane. That shit was too perfect of a timeline for that. Whatnot. And you know, out of last year, you know, despite everyone, you know, being in a pretty kind of a sore spot financially, Nintendo has honestly, Nintendo and a lot of our companies have been sitting pretty, you know, thanks to the situation or whatnot. So Nintendo is good.
They're good. They're in a very good place. Like the best they've been in a while. And it's really hard to imagine how the future will look like even beyond the Switch, because we really don't know.
Exactly. You know, I really like, you know, I don't think the Switch is a concept they're going to abandon at the end of
No.
a supposed life cycle, right? And you know, the fact that they're transitioning so many of their games that from the Wii U, which obviously includes Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury, since they're transitioning so many of the games from the Wii U to the Switch, I feel like, you know, that's just gonna, you know, stretch out the lifespan of the Nintendo Switch so much further. And it's such a concept that works with what's going on right now with the consumer base and what people want in, you know, technology.
We also have to realize, we also have to realize which Wii U games are there really left to bring over to Switch now. Right? It's like the Zelda ports, Xenoblade Chronicles X. What else, really?
I'm like obviously Twilight Princess, Wind Waker HD. They already did what was that called Tokyo Mirage Sessions. They already did that. Man.
Yeah, which is pretty much a very even more anime-ish Shin Megami Tensei game or Persona game, and I love it. But it's there's not much left to really bring over, and it's sort of getting to the end where they have to like ramp up their own new game output really at this point. So we'll see how it goes. Really, it will be interesting to see how this will go this year.
They need to stop playing and just bring Twilight Princess and Wind Waker HD to the Switch. They need to stop playing. It's the 35th anniversary, Nintendo. Please, this year, do it. Do it now. Why are you waiting, man?
Green Knight says GameCube games.
Like let's not get ahead of ourselves. Like first, we got to get N64 games. You know, like, and we don't even have that. Like the most we ever got that from like Super Mario 3D World, Sunshine, and stuff. You know, I would love the GameCube games and stuff, but GameCube games. But first we gotta get the N64 Mini, and then we get the N64 games on the fucking Nintendo Online, which I would.
No, what we just need is double dash.
For a game, bro. No. All right, Double Dash definitely. Like trust me. Don't take it like I'm sandbagging Double Dash, because Double Dash is my favorite Mario Kart game ever. People are like, oh, but Mario Kart Wii. I'm like, bro, man, get the fuck out of here. And then people are like, oh, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I'm like, man, Double Dash. Anyways, Kirby's Air Ride. Bro.
Sure. City Trials alone.
What do you mean City Trial alone? Dude, City Trials is the game. That's it. There's nothing else to Air Ride. There's nothing else to Air Ride. You play Air Ride, you play City Trial. That's it. No, nothing else. City Trial. Man, it's not Kirby's Air Ride, it's Kirby's City Trial. Man, bro, can I tell you a story about City Trial? My dumbass thought that was a demo for another game, so I never touched it for like a good minute when I had a Kirby's Air Ride. I always did Top Ride or Free Ride, right? But then one of these days, I just, you know, let me just touch City Trial. I found out it was just a whole other mode. And I finally played it with my brother. I'm like, bro, this is like the best game ever made. What the fuck? Right? And yo, I would invite my friends over. We would have parties. Me and my friends circle, we literally have parties into the night playing nothing but City Trial. Just City Trial.
Yeah. I had, even for the longest time, even when the Wii came out, I had longest time where we still did City Trials and Double Dash. Like those two, perfect.
Man, those are my jams. Those are just two. Man, now I'm starting to think about those games, and I'm like, bro, I wanna play those games, but you know, Nintendo being Nintendo and just, you know, not releasing these games onto consoles when they know they would just make so much money.
The money is just there.
Yeah,
it's just there,
bro. But with that being said, you know, I do wanna cap off this conversation with a little, you know, talk and revelation that I want to say that I appreciate Don coming out to the Fifth Dimension stream, as according to him, this will be his last opportunity to be on a podcast. You want to tell him why, Don?
Yeah, from February 1st, I work at Nintendo.
Hooray! Hey, yo, man, when he told me the news, I was so happy for him. So yeah, like, you know, NintenDaan is finally gonna be Nintendo. You're ready, NintenDaan. What am I like? So he's gonna be working from Nintendo Europe, and bro, I'm just so happy for you, man. I'm excited, bro. Just don't be a stranger. Don't leave us behind when you go up to the.
Yeah, I'm literally moving to so it will be in Europe, so it will be Nintendo of Europe. I will be moving to Germany in literally 9 days from now.
Oh man, like, you know, bro, I have a million questions, but of course I'm not gonna ask them on stream or whatnot. But I just said, I'm like, man, I'm so happy for you and stuff. And then, you know, in all regards, you know, if like, you know, obviously. Damn, I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, I mean, there are games outside of Nintendo we can still talk about and stuff.
I mean, there are definitely games outside of the realm of Nintendo we can still discuss. Yes.
Exactly. So, like, you know, there are gonna be times, you know. So I wouldn't say completely goodbye to NintenDaan, but you know, when it comes to
I mean, the name I use online will be the one that needs to go. We'll see how it goes.
Just, you know, Dawn.
Yeah.
Is like you dabbing and Dawn and stuff. But ladies and gentlemen, we have hit 9:15. This is gonna be it for today's episode of the Fifth Dimension, and it has been such an amazing time. And I would love to talk more about this, but I am currently I made a very wrong choice in which I am hungry, so I need to go eat. Because if I don't eat, you're gonna see
HMK with new hungry mode.
Yeah. What was it? Funky mode. There you go. New brand funky mode. So we're gonna go ahead and toss y'all to another member of the Fifth Dimension, because that is all there is to the Fifth Dimension. Oh my God! Everyone's streaming today. Holy shit! Let's see. Give me a second. We're gonna figure this out. But I'm gonna see you tomorrow, Splatoon, right?
If you want to.
Yeah, man. Like, yo, let's get it.
I already played a bunch of Splatoon on my own stream earlier today. But yeah,
the Splatfest is tomorrow, right?
Bro, I won a 100x battle, my second battle during Splatfest tonight.
Wait, Splatfest started already?
Yeah.
I thought Splatfest starts tomorrow. Oh man, no, I'm finished.
Started. Yeah.
Wait, so it ends on Sunday?
It ends on Sunday, yeah.
Man, I was like, oh, bro, I'm finished. So
yeah, I did a 100x battle on my second battle.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
And I won. I have like 25,000 cloud or something.
Yo, you're gonna carry me tomorrow, because I'm telling you right now, I have not touched Splatoon in probably in a year. But I know how to play though.
Sounds good.
I know how to play though. So all this considered, guys, we are gonna go ahead and raid our boy S15 costuming, who is Steven, who is currently streaming Splatoon 2. He's another awesome, capable member of the Fifth Dimension. We're gonna go ahead and show him our love, and I will see you tomorrow for a Splatoon 2 stream. Hopefully Don will be able to join us, but it's been a great stream. Thank you all so much for coming out, and thank you so much, Don, for being a part of the Fifth Dimension.
No worries at all, dude.
Man, it's been great. So guys, until the next episode, until next Friday, this has been HMK NintenDaan. Don't forget, dive deep, be brave, and enter the Fifth Dimension. We will check you guys later.